Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A distinctive nature, character, or type. A leader in the mold of her predecessors. A dish or dessert that is formed in or on a mold. A lobster mold. A fungus that produces a superficial growth on various kinds of damp or decaying organic matter. Make something, usually for a specific function. She molded the rice balls carefully. Container into which liquid is poured to create a given shape when it hardens. Sculpture produced by molding. The process of becoming mildewed. Form by pouring, e.g., wax or hot metal, into a cast or mold. Form in clay, wax, etc. Shape or influence. Give direction to. Mold public opinion. The distinctive form in which a thing is made. Become moldy. Spoil due to humidity. The furniture molded in the old house. Loose soil rich in organic matter. Fit tightly, follow the contours of. The dress molds her beautiful figure. A distinctive nature, character, or type. A dish or dessert that is formed in or on a mold. A fungus that produces a superficial growth on various kinds of damp or decaying organic matter. Make something, usually for a specific function. Container into which liquid is poured to create a given shape when it hardens. Sculpture produced by molding. The process of becoming mildewed. Form by pouring, e.g., wax or hot metal, into a cast or mold. Form in clay, wax, etc. The distinctive form in which a thing is made. Loose soil rich in organic matter. Make something, usually for a specific function. Come up with an idea, plan, explanation, theory, or principle, after a mental effort. Make a copy of with the intent to deceive. She forged a green card. A workplace where metal is worked by heating and hammering. Make out of components, often in an improvising manner. Move or act with a sudden increase in speed or energy. Create by hammering. Forge a pair of tongues. Furnace consisting of a special hearth where metal is heated before shaping. Move ahead steadily. He forged ahead. The visual appearance of something or someone. A perceptual structure. The composition presents problems for students of musical form. The phonological or orthographic sound or appearance of a word that can be used to describe or identify something. The inflected forms of a word can be represented by a stem in a list of inflections to be attached. Make something, usually for a specific function. Any spatial attributes, especially as defined by outline. Establish or impress firmly in the mind. A body of students who are taught together. Create, as an entity. Social groups form everywhere. Biology. A group of organisms within a species that differ in trivial ways from similar groups. A category of things distinguished by some common characteristic or quality. Sculpture is a form of art. A life-size dummy used to display clothes. Develop into a distinctive entity. Alternative names for the body of a human being. The spatial arrangement of something is distinct from its substance. To compose or represent. This wall forms the background of the stage setting. Give shape or form to. Form the young child's character. Physical chemistry, a distinct state of matter in a system. Matter that is identical in chemical composition and physical state and separated from other material by the phase boundary. A mold for setting concrete. They built elaborate forms for pouring the foundation. An ability to perform well. He was at the top of his form. An arrangement of the elements in a composition or discourse. The essay was in the form of a dialogue. A particular mode in which something is manifested. His resentment took the form of extreme hostility. A printed document with spaces in which to write. He filled out his tax form. Assume a form or shape. The water formed little beads. The visual appearance of something or someone. A perceptual structure. Make something, usually for a specific function. Shape a figure. A concrete representation of an otherwise nebulous concept. Any spatial attributes, especially as defined by outline. He could barely make out their shapes. The state of good health, especially in the phrases in condition, or in shape, or out of condition, or out of shape. Shape or influence. Give direction to. Alternative names for the body of a human being. The spatial arrangement of something is distinct from its substance. Geometry is the mathematical science of shape. The supreme headquarters that advises NATO on military matters and oversees all aspects of the Allied Command Europe. Give shape or form to. Shape the dough. Make uniform. Work the clay until it is soft. Perform as expected when applied. This old radio doesn't work anymore. Be employed. Is your husband working again? Applying the mind to learning and understanding a subject, especially by reading. Mastering a second language requires a lot of work. Have and exert influence or effect. The artist's work influenced the young painter. Make something, usually for a specific function. Cause to happen or to occur as a consequence. I cannot work a miracle. The occupation for which you are paid. A lot of people are out of work. Cause to work. He is working his servants hard. Find the solution to a problem or question, or understand the meaning of. This unpleasant situation isn't going to work itself out. A product produced or accomplished through the effort or activity or agency of a person or thing. It is not regarded as one of his more memorable works. Have an effect or outcome, often the one desired or expected. The voting process doesn't work as well as people thought. Use or manipulate to one's advantage. She knows how to work the system. Proceed along a path. Work one's way through the crowd. Prepare for crops. Shape, form, or improve a material. Work stone into tools. A place where work is done. He arrived at work early today. Cause to undergo fermentation. The vintner worked the wine in big oak vats. The total output of a writer or artist, or a substantial part of it. Picasso's work can be divided into periods. Give a workout to. My personal trainer works me hard. Go sour or spoil. The wine worked. Activity directed toward making or doing something. She checked several points needing further work. Arrive at a certain condition through repeated motion. The stitches of the hem worked loose after she wore the skirt many times. Behave in a certain way when handled. This dough does not work easily. Cause to operate or function. This pilot works the controls. Exert oneself by doing mental or physical work for a purpose or out of necessity. I will work hard to improve my grades. Gratify and charm, usually in order to influence. The political candidate worked the crowds. Move in an agitated manner. His fingers worked with tension. Move into or onto. Work the raisins into the dough. Operate in a certain place, area, or specialty. She works the nightclubs. Operate in or through. Physics. A manifestation of energy. The transfer of energy from one physical system to another expressed as the product of a force and the distance through which it moves a body in the direction of that force. Work equals force times distance. Proceed towards a goal or along a path or through an activity. Work your way through every problem or task. Provoke or excite. The rock musician worked the crowd of young girls into a frenzy. The act of throwing a fishing line out over the water by means of a rod and reel. The visual appearance of something or someone. The delicate cast of his features. Formulate in a particular style or language. She cast her request in very polite language. The actors in a play. A violent throw. Container into which liquid is poured to create a given shape when it hardens. The act of throwing dice. Form by pouring, e.g., wax or hot metal, into a cast or mold. Cast a bronze sculpture. Move about aimlessly or without any destination, often in search of food or employment. Put or send forth. Cast a spell. Get rid of. Object formed by a mold. Bandage consisting of a firm covering, often made of plaster of Paris, that immobilizes broken bones while they heal. Throw forcefully. The distinctive form in which a thing is made. Pottery of this cast was found throughout the region. Eject the contents of the stomach through the mouth. Choose at random. Cast lots. Assign the roles of a movie or a play to actors. Who cast this beautiful movie? Deposit. Cast a vote. Select to play, sing, or dance a part in a play, movie, musical, opera, or ballet. He cast a young woman in the role of Desdemona. Sculpture produced by molding. The act of representing something, usually on a smaller scale. Sculpture produced by molding. A preliminary sculpture in wax or clay from which a finished work can be copied. A decorative strip used for ornamentation or finishing. A decorative recessed or relieved surface on an edge. The act of creating something by casting it in a mold. Sculpture produced by molding. A preliminary sculpture in wax or clay from which a finished work can be copied. A decorative strip used for ornamentation or finishing. A decorative recessed or relieved surface on an edge. Sculpture produced by molding. A preliminary sculpture in wax or clay from which a finished work can be copied. The process of becoming mildewed. Become moldy. Spoil due to humidity. A fungus that produces a superficial, usually white, growth on organic matter. A person who poses for a photographer or painter or sculptor. The president didn't have time to be a model, so the artist worked from photos. Construct a model of. Model an airplane. A representative form or pattern. A hypothetical description of a complex entity or process. The computer program was based on a model of the circulatory and respiratory systems. Worthy of imitation. Model citizens. Representation of something, sometimes on a smaller scale. A woman who wears clothes to display fashions. Something to be imitated. A model of clarity. Someone worthy of imitation. Every child needs a role model. The act of representing something, usually on a smaller scale. Create a representation or model of. Form in clay, wax, etc. Model a head with clay. Assume a posture as for artistic purposes. Plan or create according to a model or models. A type of product. His car was an old model. Display, clothes, as a mannequin. Model the latest fashion. Decide upon or fix definitely. Reach, make, or come to a decision about something. Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. Establish after a calculation, investigation, experiment, survey, or study. Shape or influence. Give direction to. Experience often determines ability. Fix conclusively or authoritatively. Settle conclusively. Come to terms. Fix in scope. Fix the boundaries of. The tree determines the border of the property. Induce into action by using one's charm. Have and exert influence or effect. The artist's work influenced the young painter. Shape or influence. Give direction to. A cognitive factor that tends to have an effect on what you do. Her wishes had a great influence on his thinking. A power to affect persons or events, especially power based on prestige, etc. Used her parents' influence to get the job. Causing something without any direct or apparent effort. One having power to influence another. She was the most important influence in my life. The effect of one thing, or person, on another. The influence of mechanical action. Restrain the emission of sound, fluid, etc. Shape or influence. Give direction to. Bring into conformity with rules or principles or usage. Impose regulations. We cannot regulate the way people dress. Fix or adjust the time, amount, degree, or rate of. Regulate the temperature. Walk heavily. Something that can be used as an official medium of payment. Machine consisting of a heavy bar that moves vertically for pounding or crushing ores. Raise in a relief. Treat or classify according to a mental stereotype. A small adhesive token stuck on a letter or package to indicate that postal fees have been paid. A symbol that is the result of printing or engraving. He put his stamp on the envelope. A small piece of adhesive paper that is put on an object to show that a government tax has been paid. A device incised to make an impression, used to secure a closing or to authenticate documents. The distinctive form in which a thing is made. A block or die used to imprint a mark or design. Affix a stamp to. Are the letters properly stamped? A type or class. More men of his stamp are needed. Crush or grind with a heavy instrument. Stamp fruit, extract the juice. Destroy or extinguish as if by stamping with the foot. Stamp out tyranny. Form or cut out with a mold, form, or die. Stamp needles. Reveal clearly as having a certain character. His playing stamps him as a romantic. To mark, or produce an imprint in or on something. A man whose name is permanently stamped on our maps. A distinctive characteristic or attribute. Give or assign a resource to a particular person or cause. I will earmark this money for your research. A distinctive characteristic or attribute. Identification mark on the ear of a domestic animal. A mark on an article of trade to indicate its origin and authenticity. A distinctive characteristic or attribute. Mark with a brand or trademark. A distinctive characteristic or attribute. A formally registered symbol identifying the manufacturer or distributor of a product. Register the trademark of. The company trademarked their new gadget. A dish served as the last course of a meal. Not containing or composed of salt water. English phonetician. One of the founders of modern phonetics, 1845 to 1912. In an affectionate or loving manner, sweet, is sometimes a poetic or informal variant of sweetly. Susan Hayward plays the wife sharply and sweetly. Pleasing to the mind or feeling. Sweet revenge. With sweetening added. A food rich in sugar. Pleasing to the ear. Having a natural fragrance. The property of tasting as if it contains sugar. The taste experience when sugar dissolves in the mouth. Having a sweet nature befitting an angel or cherub. A sweet disposition. Not soured or preserved. Sweet milk. A dish served as the last course of a meal. Having or denoting the characteristic taste of sugar. pleasing to the senses. The sweet song of the lark. Used of wines, having a high residual sugar content. Sweet dessert wines. An activity that you like or at which you are superior. Marriage was scarcely his dish. A very attractive or seductive-looking woman. The quantity that a dish will hold. They served me a dish of rice. Directional antenna consisting of a parabolic reflector for microwave or radio frequency radiation. Provide, usually but not necessarily food. She dished out the soup at 8 p.m. A particular item of prepared food. She prepared a special dish for dinner. A piece of dishware normally used as a container for holding or serving food. We gave them a set of dishes for a wedding present. Make concave. Shape like a dish. A dish served as the last course of a meal. An organism of the kingdom fungi lacking chlorophyll and feeding on organic matter, ranging from unicellular or multicellular organisms to spore-bearing syncytia. Make from scratch. Make from scratch. Any object that can be used to hold things, especially a large metal box-like object of standardized dimensions that can be loaded from one form of transport to another. Creating figures or designs in 3 dimensions. Shape, a material like stone or wood, by whittling away at it. Create by shaping stone or wood or any other hard material. A 3-dimensional work of plastic art. The process of becoming spoiled. The act of spoiling something by causing damage to it. Her spoiling my dress was deliberate.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.